Right, I'll be back, guys. Just let me know in the chat. Hopefully that's worked. Sorry, I don't know what OBS is shit, isn't it? It's fucking just crashing. That's how we doing. Right, I'm just going to wait until we're on. All in, Roger. Right, hopefully we're all back. Good, brilliant. Right, good. Right, so, hey Christian. Right, so where do we get to? So I think it was just talking about the external air starter unit. So I'm not too sure if you saw that in the last little bit. So the air starter unit basically gets put in front of the engine 1. So we're going to start number 2 first. That's how we're going to do it. So we're starting engine 2, and then we can sort of do this already. So before, let's have a quick look. There we go. Not that one. So yeah, it says before connecting air starter unit, we turn packs 1 and 2 off to prevent the pack contamination just from the air starter unit air coming in, so it just doesn't go into the packs itself. APU bleed would go off. It's off anyway because we're not using the APU. The engine bleed on both engines is off, and then the cross bleed here, we'd open that, and then we can connect the air starter unit. So that's what we're going to do beforehand. Then we can start the engine. So it says start engine first, so you know below. It says it's not permitted to start the second engine using the air starter unit. So this air starter unit is only there to start the first engine. Then after that, then we go into the cross bleed procedure, which is below. So use the normal start procedure, which is fine. It says the recommended starter air supply is 30 psi when the start valve is open. So they've got like a throttle on theirs, and they can adjust the PSI if they need to. It says also 2 air start units may be used in parallel. Now I've never had to do that, so we've only got the 1, which is fine. After the first engine started, the cross bleeds engine start procedure is used for the second engine. So it says here disconnection of the external power. With the external power push button on may cause injury to the ground engineer. Request disconnection of the external power only with the external power. So really, what it's saying is we don't want the ground crew to just pull the sort of the cable out from the aircraft when it's on, because basically there's a chance of electrocution. So we'd have to disconnect that, so it's got available like that, and then they could disconnect it. So I've gone dead now because I did that, so I should come back on in a minute. So yeah, we'd disconnect that once the engine's on, and yeah, then they can disconnect it. So external power, check available, request to disconnect, air starter unit, disconnect it. Pack 1 on, pack 2 on. Engine bleed of the running engines, that would be number 2, so that would go on, and then we'd do the cross bleed procedure, which is this bit here. So we're going to do this bit once we're on the taxi. So cross bleed engine starts. It says caution, do not perform the cross bleed engine start during pushback, so we won't. We'll wait until we're stopped on the actual taxiway. Use the engine bleed supply and external pneumatic power supply simultaneously is prohibited, which okay, we won't be doing that. And then there's a few procedures here. So before the start, APU bleed will be off, which it will be. It says the bleed valve of the running engine reopens and the cross bleed valve closes. Engine bleed of the running engine, which will be on, which will be up here. The engine bleed of the receiving engine will be off. It says the bleed valve of the engine to be started is closed to eliminate reverse flow leakage. Cross bleed will be open, and then when cleared to start, says that we'd get this from the ground crew, confirm that it's all clear behind us, and then we'd increase the thrust lever of the supply engine, so this would be number 2 in this case, and we would adjust it for the bleed pressure. So we need to maintain basically 30 psi during the engine start, so that's enough bleed pressure to then start the other engine. So it says if the thrust required to obtain the appropriate engine bleed pressure exceeds 40%, pay particular attention to the surrounding area. It says preset 30 degrees before starting launching the start sequence. And then it just says receive an engine, start, and just use the normal start procedure when we're starting the second engine. Then once we've finished, we just do these, which is what we're going to do. So that's basically the procedure. It's not too difficult, to be honest. So we can do a few of these. We can turn pack 1 and 2 off, and as per the procedure, we can turn engine bleeds off and the cross bleed. So that's all done. So that's all in still. That's done. Why is it aligning? Ugh, is it dumped after this, is it? What was the 350? That's in, that's in. That's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. That's done, good. What else have I got to do? What GPU have you got? You got great performance. It's only like a 1660, I think, Captain. I don't know what you know. Expect the 30 psi reason. Don't do this. Yeah, exactly, Christian. That's exactly it. You don't want thrust on while your tug's connected. Anyway, so it looks like boarding's complete, which is good, and it looks like they've closed everything. Yeah, so I don't have great performance. It gets a bit laggy when I'm outside. Right, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Don't need that. GPU still needs to keep attached. Right, this is going to be the next gotcha thing, really. So this is the bits for starting the engine and the sort of anomalies that we get. So GSX doesn't like anything if the engines are started. So it doesn't like pushing back, doesn't do anything at all if the engine's started. Now, of course, this is a bit of a problem because we've got to start the engine on stand before we push. So I had a play of it the other day, and effectively, once you've got the second engine started, if you disconnect the external power very, very quickly and disconnect it from here, from the FB as well, and start the push, it seems to be okay. But you've got to be quite quick in doing it. Otherwise, if you wait too long, it's not particularly happy, and then it disappears like it does there, and then you can't request a push because it says you've got an engine started. So it's a little bit of a pain, GSX, because of this way it's programmed, where it can't do things if you've started the engine. Morning, J Helk. And the other thing, of course, is we need the clearance as well. So if we got, yeah, so we got tower and ground. So this is the next thing. So we're going to have to speak to ground, and we're going to have to request an engine start on stand, which you know, ATC should clear us for. So they say, you know, clear start engine, not above ground, idle. And then we start the engine on stand, and then once we're ready to push, once the engine's all stable, then we can request push. But again, this delay in asking for the push, whilst GSX isn't pushing us, may make it freak out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the second engine first using the air starter, and then whilst that's starting, I'm just going to ask for push so that we can get that clearance. There is a GSX option we can select start up before pushback. Oh, is there, Christian? Oh, okay. Now, where's that then? Is that in the... I'll look at that. I'll look at that another day. But okay, fair enough. But yeah, if you haven't got that option selected, obviously it's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. Anyway, so it looks like the second load sheet is here. So a little bit late going now because of this. Of course, restarting the stream doesn't help. OBS, what a load of shit OBS is. So right, so there's the final load sheet. So 60.1, good. That's fine. 67, so that's all within limits. Zero fuel weights, yeah, that's within 2%, and 28.6 is okay. 28.6 is the trim. Perfect. Don't need to change the perf. Right. So let's see if we got. So we got Tower Gatwick, and we got London Control on as well. Right. Let's see if what I'll do is get the clearance. We're pretty much ready to go. So I get the clearance and see if we can get going. Departure. Sort it as golf now. Golf. So if this wind's 2308, good. We've got less favourable winds for that. It's 12 degrees now. And QNH is 1021 still. Good. That's done. Right, let's do a quick checklist as well. Yeah, cheers, Christian. Thanks. I need to play with things like that. Right, so I think we're all ready to go. That's all done. Where's my checklist gone? There it is. So cockpit preparation and aircraft acceptance has been completed. Fuel quantity we have 8 tons and it's balanced. Seatbelts are on. I've still got the RSs to align. Fuck's sake. ADRS is it's probably not going to say anything, is it? We've got 3. I just quickly align these just to get this done. How do I quickly align it? I mean, by the time we work it out, it would have aligned, wouldn't they? No, I'll just leave it. Well, while that's doing, I can get the clearance. It's already got ground 128.
Requesting IFI departure to Glasgow 5, please.
WestJet 292, roger, that's fine. I'll need you to log in as WestJet if you want to be called WestJet.
Well, one thing I haven't done is the flight plan, actually. I haven't actually filed it.
Just change the call sign for me, please.
Okay, buddy, thanks.
Might help if I actually file the flight plan.
All stations on the ground at Gatwick, stand by, controller coordination.
Fair enough. Let's update the 2BT. Let's go 30 now. Is there a way to get us automatically disconnect after push rather than you snapped in? Is it? Okay, might be an option. Yeah, as Christian says. I mean, to be fair, we do say that to them. You know, we do say it's a good engine start. So, you know, I don't really mind doing that. Right, pre-file. I knew there's something else I hadn't done.
Gatwick ground, radio check, please.
WestJet 292, thank you, read that correct. And all stations, Gatwick ground is now closing. Contact Gatwick Tower 124.225. That's Gatwick ground is now closing. Contact the tower 124.225. Goodbye.
Thank you for your service. You just have a nice good bye-bye.
Bye.
Alright, it was Gatwick Tower now, fair enough. At least we got somebody online, which should be quite useful. 124.225.
On Mike, hold Mike 126 left.
I don't know. I think that sorts itself out once we start the engines. I don't worry about that, Captain.
26 left, Shuttle 8 Whiskey.
Alright, anyway, ADRS is already nav now. Barrow QNH 1021.
Stand 113, request push and stop.
Easy 34 Delta Golf, stand 113, position start, please face east.
To start cruise face east, easy 34 Delta Golf.
Gatwick Tower, speedbird 115, requesting push start, stand 15.
Speedbird 115, stand 15, position start, please face west.
Push start, please face west, speedbird 115.
Gatwick Tower, easy 223, requesting a mic check.
Fucking mic, why?
Gatwick Tower, readability fine.
Gatwick Tower, very good morning. Monarch 240, stand 32 on the left, got information, Golf 320, requesting clearance, Salzburg, please.
Monarch 240, Gatwick Tower, thanks, cleared Salzburg, info 1, Mike, departure, squawk 7020.
Thank you very much, Clear Salzburg, info 1, Mike, squawk 7020, Monarch 240. Good.
240, that's correct, Golf QNH 101, action 1021.
Thanks, yeah, QNH 1021, Monarch 240.
Easy 7868,
70,
raise the taxi line 26 left.
20, that's done.
Clearance to border.
Right, that's all good. So the next thing we do, we're going to do requests to start the engine on stand. So let's make sure we
Mike 1, runway
got...
26 left, just late whiskey.
So just a quick look at the supplementary procedure again. Before Captain Elsa, starter, pack. Ooh.
Left on Alpha November, hold out for 326 left.
There we go. Pack 1 and 2 is off. APU bleed is off. Engine bleeds are off. Air starter unit, we'll request that in a second. And we're cleared to start. So let's get the air starter unit.
Easy 786 said you weren't ready for taxi clearance. You didn't tell us anything, so can you repeat please?
And we can see now bleed pressure starting to increase as the external air starter is coming in, and we can also see this in the ground services where we've got an air starter unit now on the diagram. It's not actually there outside, but it's there, so we're good.
Easy 786 said runway 26 left via Kilo Quebec Juliet Papa Access Sierra hold 26 left.
Hold out for 2.
Tower, good morning, random 0149er at Quebec Alpha, taxi.
Yeah, identical, please break. Easy 7868, confirm, hold out for 2.
Oh, the other thing I want to do
Easy
is
786
get the
station calling for clearance. What was your call sign?
get the pushback attached. That's the other thing. If it's not attached, it doesn't seem to like it when you start the push.
File bar Inver, which is officer at 82, able to reach file bar Nobler, please. Thank you. Break. Random 01490 taxi Quebec Lima. Correction. Taxi straight ahead. The third right on Lima, left on Quebec. Hold short of Kilo.
Could you please reach after left on Lima, please?
It's right on Lima, left on Quebec. Hold short Kilo.
Left on Lima, Quebec, and all short of Kilo, random 0149er, thank you.
Negative, right on Lima.
Oh, sorry. Right on Lima, Quebec, and all short of Kilo.
I think I know why the controls slightly done. I think I haven't got the thing set up properly.
Over to Unicom, thanks for great work, Shuttle 8 Whiskey.
Tower Zulu Kilo Papa Juliet, November stand 173, Mike, request push and start.
Zulu Kilo Papa Juliet, November, thank you, stand 173.
That'd be why.
Push and start, please, face south.
Face south, Zulu Juliet, November.
Tower Monarch 240 requesting engine start on stand. We'll call you ready for push.
Monarch 240, stand 32 left, start is approved.
Thanks, start approved, 32 left, Monarch 240. Right, so he's going to give us a clearance, which is good. So, 4 starts.
Easy 34 Delta Golf request taxi.
So just going to leave this for the minute.
34 Delta Golf.
Parking brake, hopefully it'll work. Parking brake is on, takeoff data is confirmed. Windows are closed, PDs, I'll leave them alone in a minute. Doors are
Tower, good morning, Alpaca 5 Golf.
closed and
ready for push and start.
the beacon is on. So there we go, we can start the engine. So it says the procedure says to start the engines normally. So clear to start the engines.
After the
Not permitted to start the second engine starts. And basically all we've got to do is just go engine mode selector.
After the EasyJet passes, cleared for push, Alpaca 5
And
Golf.
as we said, big threat here, don't start number 1 normally, so we're going to start number 2. So starting 2.
Easy 78 Golf.
And we can see here that the air pressure is good enough, so it's maintaining more than 30 psi in the starter valve. So this should just start now, engine 2 normally.
Cleared for takeoff, easy 7868.
That's our Monarch 240 requesting push.
Right, 240 wants to pass behind, I'll call you back.
Roger. That's going to be an issue. Hopefully GSX won't piss about. I mean, if they do, we can still use the FB. But
Gatwick Tower, good morning to you. This is WestJet 292 at stand at 232, Boeing 737-700, requesting IFR departure to Glasgow as filed, please.
WestJet 292, the only problem with that is I don't have the flight plan, so can you just check and
You
refile?
need to start the engines to
Ah,
request ground services.
Yeah, I'll refile
See,
again,
this is a
mate.
problem with GSX.
You need to start the engines to request ground services.
Okay. I might just have to do this manually off the AP then.
Thank you, cleared park, November 1, X-ray departure, squawk 047.
Anyway, the engine started so we can disconnect the external power, so we can tell them to disconnect it,
Easy 45 Whiskey Zulu, that's correct.
disconnect that,
Speedbird 115.
and we started the second engine so we can disconnect the ground power as well, so the air starter, so that's all now done.
November, hold November 1.
So after the first engine has started,
November, hold November 1.
external power has been disconnected,
34 Delta Golf.
pack 1 and 2 on, and the engine bleed of the running engine on. So 1, 2 is on,
After November, all Delta 3, easy, before Delta Golf.
and the running engine number 2.
After the British Airways Boeing 777 passes right to left behind, stand 32 left, push and start approved face west.
Thanks so much. After the BA 777, push down approved, 32 left, face west, 10240. Good, so once he's gone we can push.
Gatwick Tower, Zulu Kilo, Papa Juliet, November, request taxi.
Yeah, I'm not too sure,
Delta
that Bing was
intersection
probably a pack or
departure,
something, it's fine.
Intersection departure will work for me.
Correction, Zulu, Juliet, November, thank you. Left on Juliet, right on Romeo, hold short Delta 1.
Left on Juliet, right on Romeo, hold short Delta 1.
So we've done all that,
Juliet, November.
so all we've got to do now is the cross bleed
Captain
engine
Tower,
start
we'll
procedure for the
just
second
hold
engine.
here for a couple of minutes. Still got the engine starting up. Speedbird 115.
Third 115, roger, hold position. There'll be one to push in front in that case.
There's always one Nigel in there.
Tower, random 0149er, audition taxiway Kilo.
Random 0149, thank you. Quebec, left Juliet, hold short Papa.
Quebec, left Kilo and North Shore Papa.
Negative, left Juliet, hold short Papa.
Quebec, left Juliet and North Shore Papa.
And Monic 240, that British Airways holding position, your push and start approved.
Thanks, push approved, he's, sorry, Monic 240. Right, he's good, so release the parking brake. Oh, fuck off.
You need to start the engines to request ground services.
These 45 Whiskey Zulu, stand 1 today.
Right, just, yeah, bugger off. GSX.
Face into the east, position tab, 45 Whiskey Zulu.
7868, monitor unit on 122 decimal 8 behind.
Right, I don't know what that's doing, I'm just going to leave it.
Behind.
Did you have to turn off passengers, friend? What do you mean, passengers?
26 left, clear takeoff, easy, before Delta Golf. Thank you.
I don't understand the question. Willie?
Gatwick Tower, hello. Lufthansa 1F Romeo, request clearance to destination on stand with information Golf on board. Stand number 572.
Well, I'm going to screw him over now because I've got to cross bleed the engines, so...
Lufthansa 1F Romeo.
Transfer 1 Alpha Romeo, thank you. Clear to stand by the frame 1, Mike departure, termination of death.
Packs. Yeah, it's part of the procedure, Willie, that's what it says.
1075, generate 180.
And to Amok 240, just be aware we are cross bleeding the engine once we're stationary on stand, so we'll be ready to taxi in about 2 minutes. Cool.
Lufthansa 1 for Romeo, clear to stand via frame 1 Mike departure, squawk 1075.
Right, that would do.
H1021, Lufthansa 1 for Romeo.
Lufthansa 1 Alpha Romeo, yeah, it's the frame 1 Mike just by terminating at that link, so terminating a bit early for the arrival, but otherwise.
Right, so that's good. So parking brake's done, so let's assume the ground crew's disappeared, so... The engine
Good
start.
morning, Gatwick Tower, me again, West
So cross-bleed
292,
engine start, do not perform the cross-bleed engine starter and pushback, which we're not.
700.
Use of engine bleed supply and pneumatic power is prohibited. So before the start, APU bleed off.
Thank you, clear to Glasgow, they'll land
So let's have a quick look up here.
5015.
So APU bleed is off. Engine bleed, the running engine is on. Engine bleed of the receiving engine is off. Cross bleed is open when clear to start. Clear behind us. And then we increase the thrust lever. God, it's so fucking loud. Turn your bloody mics down, Jesus. So adjust the thrust lever for the receiving engine and just basically apply the normal start procedure. So engine mode select is start, and now basically we just need to increase the thrust lever
Very good morning, Gatwick Tower, to
get at least 30%.
Radio check.
368 Victor, Gatwick Tower, hello, read 95.
That's if I do that.
34 Delta Golf, nothing further, monitor Unicorn 122.8, good day.
122.8, bye bye. Easy 34 Delta Golf.
Random 0149, next right, hold Bravo 1.
Next right, hold Bravo.
So we've got 32%. So stunning one.
Do you have time for a question?
Go for it.
The delivery didn't give me the initial climb.
It's per the SID, so whatever the chart says, I think it's 4,000 initially on your departure.
Okay, following the chart, thank you.
Ready, very good day, Gatwick Tower, speed of 368 Victor, currently with you stand 231, looking for clearance to Glasgow with an Airbus A320 Neo.
368 Victor, thanks.
So you can see the pressure's dropped off a bit during the engine start procedure, but we're sort of trying to maintain N1 as best we can. And the engine is starting pretty normally.
Thanks, that was quick. Declare to Glasgow, the 116 Mike, squawk 3236.
So you're 368 Victor, clear to Glasgow via the Land 16 Mike departure, squawk 3236.
Right, looks like a good start.
So 368 Victor, correct.
So we go. That's all looking pretty good. So 2 started.
Gatwick Tower, can you repeat squawk?
And there we go. Once we've done.
3236.
Just close the wrong bloody.
Request taxi 045 Whiskey Zulu.
45 Whiskey Zulu, thank you. Via Kilo, hold.
So I'll start thrust lever, spine engine back to idle. Cross bleed can go back to auto.
Alpaca 5 Whiskey. Correction.
And the engine bleed, the receiving engine back on. Which is there.
Hold out for 3.
Packs check
Alpha
on.
November, hold out for 3.
Which they are.
5 Golf Fox.
So that's the end of the procedure for that. So then we can basically just do our normal procedures. So that goes back to normal. Anti-ice. I might leave that off. I know I set it on, but that's fine. So that's all done. APU is off. That's done. That's done. Flaps 1. 28% is about there anyway. Status page is good. So that's cross bleed in the engine, so pretty straightforward when you know what you're doing. So the up starts.
Ready for our taxi now.
Anti-ice is off. Ecom status is checked. Pitch trim is 28% set. Rudder trim is neutral. The aft chest, please. And we're ready to go.
Random 0149 in a second.
0149, Bravo 1, line up from 826 left.
Line up away to 6 left, random 0149.
45 Whiskey Zulu, continue right, Papa left Alpha Sierra, hold Alpha 2.
Continue right on Papa, left Alpha Sierra, Alpha 2, 45 Whiskey Zulu.
Juliet November, nothing further for you, manager Unicom 122, destination, good day.
Stop Unicom 122, destination, cheers, Zulu Juliet November.
1240, ready for taxi.
10240, thank you, taxi via November, hold short, hold Zulu.
November and hold short of Zulu, 1240. So straightforward, down Kilo, November, first left, and then Zulu is there, so that's pretty easy.
Gatwick Tower, barrier 745, currently
that's on.
descending down to 4,000 feet.
Barrier 745, outside my control, continue. You definitely calling this Fenix A320 established on final position.
How do I get rid of these fucking...
Monitoring 122.8, barrier 745.
How do I get rid of GSX?
Taxi by November, hold short Zulu, speedbird 115.
Echo 149 take off, 26 left, take off.
Right,
6
anybody,
left, clear for takeover, random 0149.
anybody now can get rid of GSX? Delete. What do you mean delete it, Willie? I mean, go on. That's how I'm on Cur 240. Just sorry, stand by. I just got GSX. I'm just trying to restart that to get rid of the tug.
Okay, no worries.
This is why I don't bother with complicated. Yeah, I was. Try the EFB. Very good point. Aha, well done.
Gatwick
Oh,
Tower,
right.
good morning.
So it probably wasn't
771 with you, establish ELS, runway 26 left.
France 971, Gatwick Tower, good morning. The surface wind 240, 8 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Clear to land, 26 left, FS.
Oh, what is it doing? Fuck off! Fucking piece of shit. I don't think it was GSX, to be fair, Will. I think it was the it's
Tower,
Phoenix.
random 0149 or Airborne.
No, random 0149, thanks. Just confirm you're following the departure. You seem to have turned left.
Yeah, I've got seems to be like some problems to the autopilot. I'm just trying to
Right, anyway.
get back to the departure.
Okay, thanks.
Fill
I'll
up.
just hang on to you for a second, but
Full down.
for now, just,
Neutral.
right,
Full left.
EG 45.
Full right.
Behind the arriving
Neutral.
France A320.
Full left rudder.
On a 4 mile final via Alpha.
Full right rudder.
Runway 26 left behind.
Neutral.
You can hold out for one until they're
Done. Yeah, I didn't
Behind
turn.
the
Oops.
Liberty line 11, way
All
26
that. Oops.
left
There we go.
behind by Alpha 1.
Alright, that's all done. That's done. That's done. That's done. That's done.
Random 0149. Looks like you've got your more under control now, so monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8 today.
Yeah, I got it. Unicorn 122.8. Thanks for the ATC. Bye bye.
Flight 240. Continue via November Alpha November. Hold Alpha 3.
And November and Alpha November Alpha 3, 240. Good, happy with that.
115. Continue via November Alpha Sierra. Hold Alpha 2.
Gatwick Tower, good morning. It's ED223, gate 21, requesting IFR clearance.
So again, obviously with no APU we can't do single engine taxi with this either, so another limitation. So another reason why taking a bit of extra fuel is really a
Taxi
good
by
idea.
November Alpha Sierra, and could you repeat the hold please, speedbird 115?
Speedbird 115, hold Alpha 2.
Hold Alpha 2, speedbird 115.
Christian, it's happened before. You say that in jest, but yeah, I'm probably guilty of saying that.
Clear to Alicante, score code 278.
There have been people that have pushed my buttons.
Departure on...
Right, I've had the 5 minutes for the engines, that's good. We've done everything. Let's do the taxi checks. So taxi checks, flight controls are checked. Flap setting, we have config 1.
Clear to Alicante.
FMA's climb that blue, 1FT2.
4734.
Radar predicted wind shear is on. ECAM memo is takeoff no blues, and EFBs are stowed and connected.
Seeking permission for pushback and start, please.
WestJet 292, thanks. Just check your score 501.
There we go, it's flight mode.
232, push and stop approved pace south.
My apologies.
So Alpha North, Alpha 3, which is this one over here.
Thank you.
Nope.
Speedbird 368 Victor, also looking for push and start.
Ah, stupid Irish.
So 368 Victor, stand 231 right, push and stop approved pace south.
Stand 231 right, push and stop approved base south. Speedbird 368 Victor.
So, Alpaca, who the fuck are Alpaca? Jesus.
Gatwick Tower, good morning. Speedbird 03 Delta at stand 20 as request push and start.
03 Delta, stand 20 right, push and stop approved pace east.
Push and start approved facing east. Speedbird 03 Delta.
When you start taxiing, do you need to wait until you're away from stands? Well, yeah, I mean, you're generally always facing away from stands, aren't you? So, yes, you do to a degree. Virtual airline, okay, fair enough.
Air France 971, taxi 08 left, Romeo, Lima, and
Right, who else is on? Nobody is. Oh, London weren't on for very long, were they?
So again, for Air France 771, please.
Air France 971, vacate to the right, onto 08 left, taxi via 08 left, Romeo, Lima, stand 35 right.
Alright, brakes are on, lights are off.
Stand 355 on Romeo and Lima.
I feel like I've forgotten something. Don't think I have. A little bit late going in the end, wasn't it? What's that, nearly half an hour late. Never mind. Got loads of time for this. I don't even know what the flight time was actually.
Alpaca 5 Golf Foxtrot, hold out for 1.
What was it? An hour and 31,
Hold out
yeah.
for 1, Alpaca 5 Golf Fox.
Pretty short flight. It should be on the ground by about 2 local.
Fenix 770, stand 4 with information hotel current passengers.
Did you fly Boxing Day? I know Tim did. Business Day. Boxing Day. No, I was off, Willie, actually. That was one of my days off. So I was flying just before Christmas. And just after, like, you know, had a few days off, and then was flying after Christmas, but I wasn't flying over Christmas, which was very nice. I did have one of my online learning days, which is like Eurovision days. They rostered me that on Christmas days. Oh, thank you very much. So between the hours of 12 and 3, I was busy revising for my next sim on Christmas Day. Was I fun?
368 Victor, thank you. Left on Juliet, hold short of Romeo.
Ever watched Flight Dead to Sims? Good with you, but a real.
Left Juliet, hold in front, did you say?
Not really, Captain. No, I mean, I've probably seen something, but I don't know. It's a 7.3 stuff. No, I don't watch it.
Alpaca 5 Golf Foxtrot 5 Alpha 1, line up T6 left.
Line up to Alpaca 5 Golf Fox.
It's probably him, isn't it? It's probably the guy you're talking about. Right, this is our clearance limit point, which is Alpha 3, so normally there'd be some red lights here.
North 2, Mike 6.
Which then obviously, because it's a sim, but...
North 2, Gatwick Tower, readability 5.
12 to 3, nice shift, yeah. Yeah, I've walked the dog, don't know what's... He's probably dead downstairs or something, don't know. Haven't seen him for about an hour.
Iberia 745, Gatwick Tower, you're on this route. Easy 45 whiskey, there's nothing further for you. On a G Unicon 122, that's like.
What settings do you use for flying? You'd have to, what, you mean graphic settings? I don't, without looking at them, I'd have to check.
Clear for takeoff, Alpaca 5 Golf Fox.
115, hold out for 1.
Oh, you bastard.
Iberia 745 on final.
Why has he put Nigel in front of me?
Hold Alpha 1, speed at 115. Iberia 745, thank you.
It's because I bloody held him up on the taxi, wasn't it?
Departing the surface wind 240 degrees.
Bloody Nigel's.
Iberia 745.
Sensitivity on your HOTAS. If you can remind me at the end of the stream, 320 AVGI, I will do it, because I know somebody else in the Discord was asking me that as well.
Yeah, like traffic victim like Yankee.
So yeah, I will do it.
26 left in the transition.
Just remind me later. Right, this is taking a bit of a wide turn. I think this is a little bit unrealistic. This will sort itself out once we get airborne, but it's sort of implying we're going to be a bit north.
26 left, Iberia 745.
But we won't. We'll probably fly that quite nicely. If there was a really strong wind, we might elect just to stay in config 1 in that turn, but the winds aren't too bad. I was looking at that earlier, and it's only sort of southerly, southwesterly, about 10 knots, so I'm happy we're going to do that turn in clean. In fact, what is green dot? 221. Yeah, so there we go. 221 is green dot, so it's only a knots basically fast. The speed restriction, I'm just going to keep that. Green dot will be fine.
Unicon 1.
Should have really checked that, I suppose, but things didn't mention we are above max landing weight as well, so if we had to come back for any reason, it's obviously an overweight landing checklist. 66 tonnes is our max landing weight. We're about 1.7 tonnes over that, so yeah, potentially if there was a fire, we would come back on the overweight, which is interesting because on this overweight landing checklist you would get the APU to supply the packs. Obviously that's not available for us, so we just turn the packs off. You know, it's not a high elevation airfield and its temperature's not too bad, so we just turn the packs off for the performance, because we can't get the APU on, obviously. So yeah, probably should have mentioned that. That's part of the brief, really. Do you turn off taxi lights at holding point? Do you turn? Do you do PEDS brief? Yeah, do you know what, I didn't even do that, did I? I didn't do the PEDS brief. Yeah, taxi light, whenever you're stationary, it's just a good idea to turn it off just so you're not blinding anyone. PEDS didn't really touch on that, did I? But performance has not changed. That's all still valid. Engine out was basically Gatwick straight ahead, 1700 feet down to Willow down there, where it looks like it's a bit dark. Departure is, what's that? Minfu on mic, it's in there, it's on the clearance, and we're stopping at 4,000 feet, so yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Alpha land after the vacating Iberia by correction Airbus A320.
Finally managed to make a live stream. Well done, Sonny. Yeah. Annoyingly, it's sort of in two parts. Like the first part sort of seemed to crash, and then had to restart OBS. But there's not much that went on in the first part, to be fair. Foul for that garage. You have to set green dot on flight plan speed constraint for it to show. Nice. It should already be in there, so you can see the constraints are in 220, 220, 250. So you know you don't need to amend this. This is all the latest Navigraph data. So it's all there. Go around. Go around, wanker.
Third 115, but out to 1 line up 26 left.
Line up 26 left, speed of 115.
Iberia 745.
Oh, this is painful.
Second right on Juliet, hold short uniform.
And to be fair, this has got nothing to do with the actual APU. This is just general Gatwick delays. Hence why I've taken more fuel. Gary seems to be very. Yeah, it is. Is it busy? Well, it's the busiest single runway airport in the. Well, it was, Sonny. You know, I don't know if it still holds that title. Oh, he's finally got his flaps out. Yeah, whether it still is, I'm not too sure. But it is very busy in real life. I mean, yeah.
It's Mike Yankee turning onto final ILS 26 left.
Left on Julia, hold short on Papa, WestJet 292.
There's no old-fashioned Nigel. Jet 2, what are you doing down here? Piss off back to the north.
186 left, clear to take off.
Right, it's my turn next.
Iberia 745 ready to taxi the gate.
Right, I can't see anybody on short final. That's the go around.
Right on Juliet, hold short of uniform, expect stand 49 left.
Would you prefer to get moved base if you... not really, Captain. No, I'm
sorry, can you please
kind of where I want to be.
Instructions, Iberia 745.
Iberia 745, taxi.
I'd like to move closer to the airport, but that involves relocating the wife, which, as anybody who knows, is not an easy task.
Iberia 745.
Come on.
Iberia 745.
Get bored now. Come on, there's no one there. What are you waiting for?
So 368 Victor, continue via Juliet, Papa, Alpha November, hold Alpha 3.
Oh.
Alpha 3 via Juliet, Papa, and Alpha November.
It's just at the training centre thingy, that guy is the busiest. Oh yeah, yeah, it is, Sonny. I mean, in that respect, it is.
240, hold Alpha 1.
Gatwick traffic, Victor Mike Yankee, fully established ILS 26 left.
Holding Alpha 1, 240.
Third 115, monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8, bye bye.
Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8, goodbye, speedbird.
Right, somebody on approach. You could have
Gatwick Tower, got
me out there.
Fully established ILS
40, fire Alpha 1, line up 26 left.
Fire Alpha 1, line up 26 left, 240. Good, right, there's the clearance to line up.
Gatwick Tower, good Victor Mike Yankee, fully established ILS 26 left, received hotel.
Oh, fucking shit spots. Fucking thing. Right, that's done, that's done, that's done. I didn't actually time the 777, but I'm sure he's had 2 minutes. Right, that's done. Line up checklist, cabin is secure for takeoff. Take off runway 26 left, Alpha 1, line up only, approaches as clear as I can see it. TCAS is TARA, PAX 1 and 2 are off, line up checklists are complete.
Gatwick Tower, Victor Mike Yankee.
Iberia 745, continue via Juliet, Romeo, Lima, stand 49 now left.
Continuing Juliet, Romeo in Lima, Iberia 745.
10240, 72440 be taken off, 26 left, clear takeoff.
Clear takeoff, 26 left, 10240. Right, that's probably 2 minutes, since I started about a minute after you actually went and we were sat there for ages. Right, that's all done, that's done, that's done, that's done, let's go. Take off. So Manflex 57 SRS runway. Oh, what's that?
Mike Yankee Gatwick Tower, hello, 72440 be taken off, continue via
Thrust lever's not set.
We're number 1, Victor Mike.
Antoga. Don't know what's going on there.
Tower, Echo November Kilo, helicopter.
Thrust is set, 100
approaching
knots.
Bridge from the north and requesting 26 left.
Kilo, Echo November Kilo, Gatwick Tower, confirm VFR.
B1, rotate.
November Kilo, thank you, 20 Gatwick control down space from the north, north of altitude 1,500.
Positive climb, gear up.
The record, like you said, and report to
Right, board,
north,
AP1.
and we'll call the field and start.
3 Delta Van, Mike 1, line up 26 left.
Well, Mike 1 line up runway 26 left, Speedbird 03 Delta.
1240, monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8, bye.
Unicom 122 decimal 8, 1240, thanks so much, have a good day. Good, done. That's done. Right, thrust climb, climb. That's on. Away we go. Alright, there you go. Managed speed 220 is back green dot, which is fine. It's about 1,000 to go. Let's just continue going up. VS 2000, 6000 is blue. Just make sure we're not going to interfere with any Heathrow traffic. Don't really need the lights anymore. I just need to keep an eye on the traffic on that sim now. So is that somebody? No, he's low down. Right, I can't see anybody coming in. Somebody going into Manchester. Good, so the radar looks pretty clear. So let's continue going up. Let's just go 20,000 to start with. So thrust climb, open climb. Set standard. No, not that. That. Standard is set and cross jet 20,000 or 200 blue.
Clear to land, runway 26 left, Victor Mike Yankee.
Leave the cabin crew stuck in since it's still a little bit bumpy. That was the plan.
308, taxiing 27 left by Alpha, Yankee, Lima 53, Alpha and November 2 Whiskey, Eagle traffic.
Oh, sorry, coughing my guts up. So I'll get back to the chat in a minute, just obviously get this bit done. Right, we're above the yard stuff, so I can go back to 21013. Yeah, it did seem to sort of go a little bit wide. It's okay. Right, it seems to be enough for the girls. I released. Your answer's just stuck on. Okay, no worries, I'll try and sort that out. Dashboards. Yeah, it's banner's always a bit shit, isn't it? Yeah, I'll try and do that once I'm in the cruise. Right, that's accelerating, that's all looking good. Let's go up to the cruise. 3.5. So you've got 350 blue. That's done, that's done, that's done, that's all good. 350, yeah, that'd be fine. Move performance fuel, a little bit of extra fuel down there, secondary. I'll leave that alone for the second. Any failures, obviously we've still got the arrival into Gatwick as an option. That's it, on the way. So what was on the chat? Sorry. If it's a night, do you turn runway turn off and taxi lights off? Do you mean like when you've just come to a stop, Captain? Like all any taxi lights, etc., just come off once you're stationary? I mean, it's not really an SOP; it's more of a courtesy type thing. So you don't have to do it, but you know, when you're taxiing and you've stopped, if you turn your taxi lights off, any external sort of, you know, I mean, your landing lights won't be on anyway, but you know, if you turn off so taxi lights are on, if you turn those off, it's sort of courtesy for other people, so you're not blinding them. But also, it's sort of it's kind of like an unwritten rule. It's sort of if the taxi lights are on. It sort of indicates you're actually moving. If your taxi lights are off, it's sort of indicating that you've stopped. So you can see, you know, so if somebody hasn't got their taxi lights on, then it probably means that they've stopped. It's not, obviously, like I say, it's not gospel. That's not really SOP, but that's kind of how I look at it. So I turn my lights off when I'm stopped, because then it sort of indicates to everybody else that I'm not going anywhere, and it's courtesy. It's courteous. It's courteous. Is it okay if you set the mark at the engine start before pushback? If it's a start. Okay, yeah, I need to look at that, Christian, for that bit. I mean, that's really, really applicable if you don't have the APU, I suppose. Normally, it's not really a major issue, is it? Do you think commercial aircraft will ever get to the point where they'll be fully automated, where they would be able to taxi? Well, that's already there, Sonny. We already have that. Airbus are developing that as we speak for automated takeoffs. An automated taxi would be really easy to do, but yeah, that's kind of already there. Sadly, I think it's going to take another 20 years to become, you know, what's the word? Sort of mainstream within aircraft. So you know, well, for my career, I'll be fine. You know, it's not going to affect me at all. But for anybody starting, excuse me. Still coughing me guts up. Sorry. Yeah, for anybody starting their career, you know, that they might find in 40 years' time, yeah, they're not really doing anything, they're just bloody monitoring it, which is, you know, boring. Why do you want to do that? On takeoff, you need to use rudder to hold centerline. When you rotate, do you hold the rudder? That's what I was not really. I mean, you hold it for, from the training point of view, you know, I think the flight crew training manual, flight crew techniques manual says you can relax the rudder as you start rotating. So as soon as you're airborne, you don't need to put any rudder in whatsoever because the aircraft's just going to naturally weathercock into the wind. But I mean, you can hold a little bit of rudder sort of as you start that rotation. You know, then as soon as your sort of main wheels are off the ground, you know, you can relax that rudder. So it's sort of like a timing thing. You know, as you start rotating and the nose wheel starts coming off the ground, you can start relaxing that rudder input to get to neutral. So that by the time the main wheels are off, you know, which is pretty quick, we're only talking a couple of seconds. You know, the rudders are effectively you know, neutral. So yeah, I mean, once you're airborne, you know, these are just footrests. Don't use them at all. What else? What have I missed? When do you release a rudder? Yeah, I said that. Your altitude, yeah, I know that. Gavin at EasyJet told me about you. Yeah, cheers, George. Yeah, at least got a break. If he's streaming at the minute, it's because I'm not watching him, so he can do what he wants. If it's bumpy and you haven't released cabin crew and it's still bumpy at 10,000 feet, when it becomes smooth, would you release both or just... We're normally cabin crew first, because as soon as you release the cabin crew, they start doing their PAs and this, that and the other, and they start talking about all sorts of things. So, you know, they go through a bit of a script. You know, once they get released, they start talking about various things. And then usually once they finish their script, which you can hear it on the PA button, once they finish, then you can sort of effectively release the passengers. Because if you release the passengers halfway through the PA, the cabin crew doing their scripts, the passengers aren't really paying any bloody attention to what's going on, and yeah, it just kind of undermines the cabin crew a bit. So I'll release the passengers, release the cabin crew, give them a couple of minutes, and then once the cabin crew's released, as long as it's smooth enough, then we can release the seatbelts. Which, to be fair, it seems like we've got this layer here, so maybe a little bit bumpy just going through this layer. But you know, it's not looking too thick. You know, we can sort of see the blue sky through it. You know, it's not convective, it's not CB or TCU activity. So yeah, let's just release them. Should be fine. We'll always put them back on if we need to. Hey Andy, how you doing? 40 years. What we define as an aircraft mate? Yeah, exactly, Willie. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's weird. I'm probably in what will be known as a great transition area for aviation. You know, in probably 100 years' time or something, they'll probably look at this, because I'm in a period where automation is very much in the infancy. So I don't really have to worry too much about it. You know, we have automation, we have autolands and stuff, you know, which we're allowed to use when we need to, when we see fit. But you know, we don't do it by SOP every single time. But you know, I can imagine like 50 years' time, everything will be automated. All the landings will be automated. All the takeoffs will be automated, and we're going through this transition period of the automation is kind of there for when we need it, but it's not SOP to use it. You know, normally, you know, every day. Around 50 years, we may have that. You know, people will be looking back going, oh yeah, well, you know, pilots, they had to take off manually, they had to pull back. You know, if there was an engine failure, Christ, they had to use the rudder. You know, they had to actually use the bloody, you know, had to fly the aircraft. So yeah, I'm probably sort of in the twilight eras of pilots actually being able to do things, you know, fly the aircraft like we, you know, normally do every single day. You know, this is going to take a long time. When I say twilight, it's not going to happen overnight, but you know, in the period of 20 years, we'll probably start seeing a lot more automation being used normally, you know, backing things up. You know, of course, eventually in 50 years' time, automation might be completely normal. So yeah, there we go. It is what it is. It's Margate, I think, down there. Right, I think as soon as I get into cruise, I'm going to have to sort out my lunch. I'd love to know where my dog is. Not seen or heard of him at all. He's just gone downstairs. Can 350s do automated takeoffs? So I'm going to have to get a drink in a minute. I believe, Daniel, that they are testing things on that airframe. I think the 350s are, I can't remember what Airbus call it. But yeah, I think they are testing that that equipment on the 350. There's a 350 test bed, and yeah, there's some sort of word for it. And yeah, I believe they are doing automatic takeoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, it's quite straightforward. All it's got to do is track something, either a localizer or even GPS. The GPS is probably accurate enough. So yeah, I think the 350s are doing it, and of course that's the newest Airbus models. So that's probably designed with this sort of equipment to be retrofitted. So I'm sure any sort of 350 operators in the future will probably look at that as an option. 320s, I mean, they're still making 320 Neos and stuff, so that's probably going to be something that it could be added to as well. But the older 320s, it probably won't be. How long do you think the 320 is going to be staying in service? I think quite a long time. I mean, there's nothing to replace it at the minute. It's a proven product. As an airframe itself, it's a short to medium haul narrow body jet that's got good economy, relatively good performance. The Neos have probably got better performance than the old ones, and they're updating it, of course, all the time. They've got 320s and 321 Neos coming off the production line still, and they have far more kit. They've got a lot more things than the older ones. So I've got like an older airframe here, so if you can see the airframe in terms of what I've got, there's no FLS, no automatic TCAS, no LDAV. I've turned the automatic switching off for the AC Essential bus, so if we lost AC bus 1, so say AC bus 1 went, where am I looking? Up here. So normally on the newer aircraft, if AC bus 1 gets, drops, the AC Essential bus automatically gets from generator 2. So there's a button there which says auto on it, or alternate, sorry. So yeah, if AC bus 1 drops, AC Essential bus automatically gets power from generator 2, and this is all automatic. However, on the older aircraft this didn't happen, and you would get a shitload of electrical failures coming up on the ECAM, and there'd be a fault light up here. Eventually, once you press that, you get a load of things back. So captain loses screens and all sorts of things. In fact, we'll probably see it actually. I'll do that in a minute. Might lose the autopilot actually, but yeah, you'd lose a load of things. And when you switch AC Essential bus on, you'd get a lot of things back. So I've turned that off because that's an older thing. Yellow hydraulic steering, that's pretty much on most aircraft nowadays. Nav and go around that, I've turned that off because I don't think, I'm trying to wrap my brains, but a lot of older aircraft didn't have this either. So that's quite an important one, especially for where we're going in Salzburg, because there's a lot of terrain to the south. If we did a go around, it would automatically go around track on the FMA. So you would have to remember to push up here on the FCU to force it to go into nav. So that's an old sort of thing. Acceleration down to 2000, that's sort of standard for all airlines I've worked for. Ice detection off and brake fans off as well, so I don't have the brake fans on either, because a lot of these aircraft never had those. What's that about spoilers? Just all about rotation aircraft specs, that you shouldn't use aileron during the crosswind, but would it be an issue over rotation? Yeah, so Christian sort of says, yeah, but basically, so it's a little bit, what's the word, not vague, but if you look at the SOP document, it does say that you shouldn't use aileron on the rotation, and the reason for that is obviously you've got spoilers, as Christian says. So, what are you doing? Press the fucking flight control button, twat. So yeah, when you use ailerons, the lift spoilers will start deflecting up over the wing, so these will start coming up, and of course that's destroying the lift. So it's exactly what you don't want to be doing on takeoff, is you don't want to be destroying any lift because you're trying to actually get away from the ground. So you don't really use a lot of left or right aileron on the rotation. However, in the strong crosswinds, as soon as you rotate, the upwind wing is going to lift off, because of course all the wing, if the wind was coming from the left, the wind is coming from here and it's going to push this upwind wing up. So you might need to use a little bit of left aileron just to counteract the wing. So no, you're not supposed to do it, but practically yes, you do need to use a little bit now and again, because it's just one of those things. You do need to control the aircraft, and if you do need to put a bit of aileron in, that's what you do. it shouldn't really cause the over-rotation. I mean, it is one of the dangers. You know, you suddenly get sort of a bit of asymmetric lift and all sorts of things. So yeah, as long as you keep the rotation rate pretty consistent, you know, you should be fine. But it's one of the dangers, I suppose, with the newer cadets. They haven't quite got the feel of how much rotation they need. It's not so bad on the 319s and 320s, to be honest. The 321s, that's where if you over rotate, it can be a serious problem. But we don't have younger, inexperienced people flying the 321 for that sort of exact reason. Right, what have I done? What haven't I done? That's all done. It's pretty quick flight, this, to be fair. Let's look at that. Need to get the charts up. I do have scenery for Salzburg as well, so that should look pretty nice. Especially if I'm doing the other arrival. We're not departing, are we, dickhead? We're arriving. Rasta man. No, it's Babbitt, isn't it? That's what we're doing. And ILS. So we've got options, so we can do the ILS. I mean, I'm going to be lazy, guys. If we can do the ILS, if ATC are online, I will do this, because obviously we can do it with a tailwind, which I know, so everyone's booing. But there is the options here to do the RNAV. Now, I don't think we would get in on the RNAV visual, because I don't think the minimum is going to be low enough. And obviously a circling approach as well, and that's going to be a bit of a ball ache to do that. I mean, it's not ball ache, we can do it, but visual maneuvering area. So yeah, it's taking us right on the sort of limits of that. Interest doesn't really say when to turn. Yeah, I will do the ILS if I can, because obviously it'll be a lot easier. And of course, minimums, Cat 1, we're down to a few hundred feet above the ground, so that will be my preference. You can't use aileron, and you said don't need to touch rudder. Hey, drop. No, I mean, this isn't a general aviation aircraft, Josh. You do not fly the two the same way. It has a lot of similar characteristics. Excuse me. It is an aircraft at the same, the end of the day, and it's, you push forward, houses get bigger, and you pull back, houses get smaller, left and right and rudders. So, the laws of physics don't change. But you definitely, 1,000 to go, definitely fly the aircraft ever so slightly differently. So, yeah, you got to be a little bit careful with it. So it's, yeah, just you don't fly this thing like a Piper. It's one of those things with aviation. Fly the aircraft you're flying as you're taught to fly it. If you're flying a little Piper Warrior in real life, fly that how you're taught to fly the Piper Warrior. Don't fly it how people fly an Airbus, because the two aren't sort of mutually exclusive. It's you have to fly it the way it's sort of designed to be flying, I suppose. But an Airbus is slightly differently. So you use rudder to maintain sense line. When you rotate, that's how you maintain the sense line. But Knockout Star, as soon as you're airborne, we've got yaw dampers, we've got auto trim, etc., etc. So you don't really need to touch the rudder. But you may need to use a little bit of aileron just to maintain wings level. You don't use the rudder to maintain wings level. Out cruise. Chuck Yeager would agree. Yeah, he would. Right, that's on below. That's done. That's all done. That's done. That's done. That's all good. Right. So engines are good. A little bit less oil. That's fine. Bleeds are fine. That's good. That's good. So yeah, if we lost AC bus 1 now, AC essential bus isn't powered, and normally on the newer aircraft, AC essential bus is automatically powered by generator 2 that way, but I've turned that option off in this aircraft. So if we lost AC bus 1, we would lose AC bus, AC essential bus as well, until we press the button on the overhead. Which I'm not going to do that, because we just lose everything. Lose a load of screens on the left hand side, probably lose the autopilot as well, and it's caused some problems. Anyway. Hydraulics are good, that's good. So we use 9 tons, 2 tons and 6 is 8, good, there's no leaks, looks balanced. APUs don't work anyway. 24, turn that down, that's good, that's good. That's good. Flight controls are all looking pretty good. Good. Right, so where are we? Brussels. Brussels is a good one. That's who. Might have to weather. I think Brussels, Frankfurt, and Munich would be good 3 options. So Brussels, zooming a bit. 250 at 10, all the 9s, 1711 degrees, so lovely weather down there. So Brussels is all very, very good. Let's get Frankfurt. Chuck Yeager was fascinated because he was serviceman who flew. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a test pilot, wasn't he? Just very capable. So Frankfurt 230 at 13, all the 9s. Good. Yeah, that's all lovely. A little bit gusty. So is this gusty weather in Germany?
I recognise that voice from somewhere.
I don't know who you're talking to. Munich. Munich is fine, bit of light rain, 4,000 meters at Cat 1, so that's all good. And we can get the weather down here anyway, can't we, on the EFB? Notice. So 290 at 17. So yeah, it is varying around, so yeah. So if it's 330 at 17, that's outside the limitations. So you've got to be really careful on this. So there's a good possibility you might be doing a go around. I think what we might do is we might do the ILS to 1315. We're keeping an eye on the wind. If the wind's something ridiculous, you know, as we're approaching the runway, we'll do a go around from it. But what we'll do is we'll try and make a note. It says 4,000 scattered at 5,000. So at the minute the weather's looking pretty good, so we could do that on our visual approach, potentially. So if we can't get in on 15, we can do the on our visual approach to 133. And then if we can't get on that, we'll have to keep an eye on the clouds. It's then the circling approach. The problem is we can only really sort of do two approaches.
Brussels traffic top 613 Tango Papa, runway 25 left, 3 mile final.
Have I flown to any of those people? No, I don't think I have. Can you do the approach from the south through the... I could do, but I'm not coming from that direction, Christian. That's the problem. There's a long way to go out my way. Right, let's have... how are we going to do this? Come on. Right, so there's no more no more points after that. Apart from the go around. Hey, Alan. Right, I'm just going to go offline for a second because I just need to get a drink. Right, I'll be back in a minute.
East 75 Charlie Echo, established on the local lines 30 miles for runway 25 left on the Yankee approach.
Crystal traffic, runway 25 left. Clear to crossing, crossing now for runway 59. Correction. Crossing runway 59.
East 75 Charlie Echo, established on the Glasgow 11 miles.
Right, sorry. Let's get a drink. Right, who's sending me messages? That's you. Delay, yeah, I don't care. Bugger off. Right, let's have a quick look at the brief. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything obvious on that. So Salzburg's Cat B restricted due to the training approach. No experienced captains, first officers unless you're training flight, that's fine. Captains only approaching and landing at all runways yet. RMPA IR is not authorised. SID restrictions, don't worry about that. So obviously a lot of terrain to the sort of south and a little bit to the northwest, various other places. Landing on runway 15 hotel and may be expected, yeah, well, that's what we've got, isn't it? Maybe landing performance limited due to operational restrictions. I haven't actually checked that, to be fair, but we've done, I mean, we should have done a dispatch, I suppose, but we can't do that on here. But it's even at 64.5 tons, which we should be below that. We should be able to land with the tailwind. Aircraft specific approach procedures may require additional approach speed to assure minimum max approach climb gradient. Okay. Due to relative difference between operations. Yeah. Right, so if there's any single engine or flight control problems that may affect the manoeuvring capabilities, needs to be reviewing that. If we don't get any failures, Munich, Vienna are available to diversions. Weather diversions to Linz have proved very efficient, but engineering and support at Munich is probably better. It's all arrivals, departures to the north-northwest. Delays may be expected. It's a bit of general aviation aircraft, probably not on a day like today. It's approach and landing normally carried out on runway 15, even with light tailwinds, and takeoff on runway 33. This can cause delays due to traffic conflictions. Airspace to the north is in Germany. All arrivals are by the SPG VOR. Holding can occur, especially if there's any snow clear. I don't think there's any snow, so that's not going to affect us. ILS-15. Due to the nature of the non-ICAO standard misapproach, the airplane must be flown in a defined way to guarantee go-around performance. For all Cat 1 DME and Cat 1 approaches. Okay. So configuration 320s. Flat 3 approach, flat 2 go-arounds. Yeah, interesting. So there seems to be a bit of a procedure here. So it says packs 1 or 2 off or supplied by the APU. So due to the go-around performance, looks like we might have to have packs 1 or 2 off, so try and remember to do that on the approach. And then a flat 2 go-around VLS plus 5. So what's VLS going to be? It's been so long since I've been here. So it'll be about 140 knots, I suppose. Just to go around 20 degrees is required to achieve the required gradients in the turn. To maximise turn radius, flight director roll commands may command a different bank angle depending on the IS. Must fly the pitch command on the SRS, but must fly at a fixed bank angle. Okay. And ignore the FD roll commands. If wing anti-ice is required, then the APU bleed should be switched off. Don't have the APU anyway, due to misapproach. Right, yeah. So single engine. Well, if I had a single engine, I probably wouldn't be going there, to be honest. Performance for 1015 be calculated with performance engineer software. Good. And then there's stuff to sort out. How much fuel have we got? So, yeah, we've got an hour's worth of fuel. So if we can't get in, we're going to hold somewhere. We're going to have a look at the approach for runway 33. I think that's the best thing. So we've got the time to do it, and then we can really pick out the best approach we can do. There isn't, Josh. No, I haven't actually written one for that. I mean, it could be a good one to do because it's a little bit different. It's a bit like Innsbruck, but not quite as bad. It was Gav, by the way. Oh, was it? I didn't even recognise him. Sorry, Gav, I ignored you. If you're on, apologies. I was busy, preoccupied doing other things. Right, when we're descending, not for a while yet. Not until we're, what's that, 10, 20, 30, another 30 odd minutes. Let's get the weather quickly. Yeah, so we've got a few options here. This is where the fuel, adding the extra fuel is really good, because if we can't get in, then we'll go around and do something different. 13, 1022. In fact, interestingly, I wonder what the performance will be like if it's a 15 knot tailwind. Probably not very good. Let's go good. 3. Let's just, because the runway is going to be fine. I don't think it's wet. 3 is at 15. Max manual, max reverse, flat form. Yeah. So we're still doing it. We're just on the limits of the tailwind. Oh no, it is wet, isn't it? Light rain. So yeah. Let's see if it's medium braking action. It shouldn't be. It should be good. I wonder if it's a groove runway. I should imagine it's probably a groove runway. Where's the ground charts? Where does it say? It should say it's grooved somewhere. If it is grooved, if I can't see it, then it may not be. In which case, if it's wet, it might be slippery. Yeah, it may not be a grooved runway. I wonder sure if it says on my charts. No, I don't think it is. It's not a groove runway either. So, when you add more fuel, would you do it in sim brief in the extra box, or just add more? No, I wouldn't do it on the sim brief, Josh, because if you're tanking fuel, then yeah, you could possibly do it that way because it will add. Where's my flight plan? Can you see that now? There we go. So if you added extra fuel as tanking, it would be like here. But normally, on a normal flight plan, you don't get given extra fuel because this is the bare minimum that you're planned to go with. So the idea is you take the minimum, unless there's obviously a reason to take extra. Now we've obviously said we might be landing on runway 15, but it's a strong tailwind, so we may not get in. So maybe a go around there. There may be necessary to hold. There's a bit of anti-ice use as well. So going with minimum fuel and with no APU as well. Even though the APU obviously isn't working to burn the fuel, you're just spending longer to sort of run your engines. So this is why I've gone an extra 2 tons because that's effectively an extra hour's worth of extra fuel you've got in your tanks, which is kind of what you want. You want thinking time. So which is exactly what it says in the FMGC. So now we're airborne. This is all our sort of fuel planning. So we said about a ton to Munich. It's more or less, the CNR is about 2. That gives us just over 2.2 tons of thinking time to sort of fly around sort of Salzburg and think about what we're going to do before we've got to commit to Salzburg or disappear off to Munich. And Munich would obviously be the sort of main choice. How's that Fly Smart banner thing working? See if I can, I don't know, reset it. Yeah, don't know. Don't know why it hasn't got the ETA. I think everything else is there, isn't it? It's got the altitude. No. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to refresh that, to be honest. So I'm not really too sure what to do. I did. Yeah. Could delete it, I suppose. Delete. No, it's still not done it. What if I maybe close that down? Maybe I just need to restart Fly Life Studios. Maybe that's what I need to do. Monarch 240. That's a bit better. Ah, there we go. That seems to work. Good. Right, is all the stream going? Just making sure it's not crashed. That's that. What was the 1022? Yeah, you can see, like, was it you, Josh, talking about the setting the QNH or something, saying your altitude goes up and down? Can't remember, but you know, if you just change that, yes, it changed the barometric display, but you know, the aircraft, because it's an outcruise, is just going to maintain this sort of predefined altitude, so it shouldn't actually do anything. So I don't know why your aircraft's doing things like that. Anyone 1022. Let's preset you. Right, let's have a quick look at the brief. So we've looked at the weather, we've kind of discussed that. It's going to be a bit icky, so what do we got? I've got 350 at 10, it's even getting any worse, isn't it? So definitely, let's look at that again, 350. I mean, it's in limits, so you know, it's not a problem, we can do that. 11, 1022. Good visibility, few at 1,000, scattered at 3,000, broken at 4, so that's still good enough to do the RNAV visual approach. 11 degrees, tempo 300 at 15, so yeah, maybe possibility we're not going to get in on runway 15 with that rain showers around as well. So the weather's not great, so we're going to plan for the ILS 15, but with that weather at the minute, we can probably put the RNAV approach into runway 33 as the backup, because we should be visual to do that. And if we're not, we're going to have to go around off that one, which could be quite interesting. So the aircraft is a bit knackered, so we don't have the APUs. That's one thing, we're not going to start that on the ground. So the only thing with that is we're going to park up on stand, and then once we're parked up on stand, we're not going to shut any engines down. We're going to wait for the external power to be available, then we can get that on, and then we can shut the engines down. Now we can't do single engine taxi with this because we'd be down to one generator, so you know, if we shut down engine 2, we'd lose generator 2 up here, and then we won't have an APU generator either, so we're down to a single engine generator. So we don't really want to do that, because if we lost Gen 1, we're then effectively into, you know, what's known as sort of an emergency electrical configuration. So yeah, it's no single engine taxi, because if we're in emergency electrical configuration, we lose things like nose wheel steering and various other stuff, so it's not particularly good. So it's a bit of a threat, so we just have to make sure that the ground crew don't come anywhere near us to the beacon. Obviously there's a very sort of sad and distressing event in America recently where unfortunately some poor ladies got sucked into an engine, and I don't know why, I don't know the circumstances, so I'm not going to comment, but you know, that's critically important there, that obviously the beacon is on, and you know, nobody approaches the aircraft at all, with exceptions to the guy plugging in the external power, and that's all we need. So that's the big threat when the APU's not there. The rest of it's all fine. We do have an older aircraft though, so we don't have things that we normally would have had. So no nav and go around's a big one. So if we do have to do a go around, it's going to be going to go straight into go around track. So we would push manage nav. In that case, we'd read the FMAs. So it'd be go around flaps. Flaps probably up to, well, it would be up to 3. Read the FMAs. Mantoga SRS, and then it's a go around track, so we would have to press up here to put it into managed nav, but as per the brief, we're going to have to fly this manually anyway, because we need to maintain a minimum of 25 degrees angular bank in the go around, which if we are flying 15, let's have a look. So runway 15, it's at 2 miles, it's a left hand turn, so yeah, we would fly to 2 miles from the OES, which is the ILS DME. And then we'd make that left-hand turn, so we'd have to fly left and possibly fly through the flight director bars as per the brief. So yeah, we would press manage nav, but then just make sure we're doing at least 25 degrees. That's the other thing, we'd have to turn the packs off. We might do that, I'll try and remember. I will, what am I going to say, give myself a trigger? I shall give myself a trigger of landing gear, I think. Landing gear will come down, packs will come off, we'll get the ECAM, that'll give us time just to clear the ECAM because we know that's going to happen, and then we can go flaps 3 and flaps 4, so we have to configure a little bit earlier as well. NOTAMs, don't think there was anything there in the NOTAMs that was relevant to us. What am I looking there? It's not in there, is it, dickhead? It's in the flight plan. Let's just have another quick look. Salzburg, seasonal chemical de-icing, not going to worry about that, additional procedures, fine. So yeah, no times to worry about threats. Threats are big, lots of threats to this one. Obviously terrain is the big one. So MSA from the Salzburg VOR up here, 11,000 feet all off to the south. Now annoyingly that's all only applicable to the Austrian territory, so all of this around here to the left, which is in Germany, isn't actually applicable, so we know that's actually quite high. So if we look at the MRC chart, which, there we go, this will give us a good idea. Salzburg, so we got 9,000, 9.5, 12, so yeah, we know 12,000 feet is probably the highest MSA, but the go-around's sort of taken us to the north anyway, so this shouldn't really come into effect too much. I'll tell you what, I'll go on terrain, use down weather, because weather radar doesn't even work anyway. The approach we kind of discussed, what I need to do is I want to put that's in there, I'm going to put this in the secondary, I'm going to put this in the primary, 1315, Badir to Romeo, and we can have a look at the procedure. Sorry Josh, I'm not answering any questions because I'm busy, buddy. The ultimate food, who's figuring the FPM rounded up. Yeah, just round it up, yeah. I mean, you know, you can be a bit more accurate, you can put the entire route in if you wanted to, but, you know, I just use the OFP. What are the limits where they post is the standard limitations. Standard limitations, yeah, the tailwind would be in there, buddy. No, I don't use Volanta. Did you just do... Yeah, it's sort of... We've got a new thing called a smart brief now, so I'm kind of trying to forget my older sort of briefing style and sort of, you know, brief smart is what we call smart brief, brief smart. Really, we're just sort of discussing the threats, which is what I'll come back to in a second. So Babbitt, this is what it is. So Babbitt out above 4,000, and then Salzburg out above 4,000 as there, which is looks like what we got. So 4,000, 4,000, and it looks like 4,000 is the platform anyway. Yes, this is all pretty straightforward. So it's from Salzburg, it's onto the ILS. Salzburg 4,000 SBG, 4,000 is a platform, yeah. Minimums, what's that? 1682. Let's get that in. QNH1022, 11 degrees, and wind is 350 at 10. So yeah, it's going to make this a really interesting approach. I do want SBG in because I kind of need to go back to that. Let's go back on the left hand side. So that'll be on the left. So that's all done. Fuel, so yeah, we've got an extra hour, which is what we need. Secondary, then we've got the INAV approach into runway 33, which we'll come back to if we need to. So yeah, that's relatively straightforward. It's 3 degrees, that's the minimums. RVRs we've got. Pappies are on the left, they're 3 degrees. So this is where it's non-ICAO standard non-ICAO missed approach. Minimums based on missed approach climb gradient of less than 5%. So I might tune that 1099 as well, just so I've got that in. 9.9, just so I don't lose it. Right, good. So I'll have the SBG on this side, I'll have the DME, ILS DME on that side. So at 2 miles it's a left-hand turn, just in case it drops off here. Hey Shaquille, how you doing? So that's a relatively straightforward brief for the ILS missed approach. Oh, there we go. So we're Cat C, 165 knots is the maximum speed, and that's 25 degrees angle of bank. So F speed. So what does it say? So just looking at the brief again. Right, so that's the other thing, so we're going to have to select. I just say flap 3 approach, flap 2 go arounds. I think that's just insinuating. So maybe it's going to be a flap full approach, flap 3 go around, but VLS plus flying. So when we do go around, it's all going to be very, very busy if we need to do it. So it's go around flaps, bring the flaps up, read the FMAs, and then we have to pull and select speed, and that's going to be about 140. We're going to need that. Then push that into nav as well. It'll be a left-hand turn at 2 miles, back to the SBG, and obviously get positive climb gear up. and then we'll just fly that and then see what we're going to do. What are the other big threats? So the other big threats, I suppose, is the RNAV approach. We need to do that. We don't have these waypoints in here, so this is effectively going to be a visual approach. What's that? Whiskey Sierra 836. I wonder if that's in here. Not that we can fly this man. Okay, Whiskey Sierra 836. Aha, it is there. Awesome. 836, 837. I don't know why it's gone blue, but it doesn't matter. So if we look at this, yeah, there we go. So if we do need to do the RNAV approach, it's in the secondary, and we've got these waypoints. There's the missed approach point, and we just basically fly straight ahead to this one, and then we make a right-hand turn to align with the runway there. And that is basically, yeah, so it implies sort of 4,000 feet until we get to the base turn. And what's that about? Is that 5? What's 5 mean? No, that's the MSA. So that's about 1.4 miles. So 1.4, 3.3 is, what's that, 4.7? So about just under 5 miles from the airfield, so about 1,500 feet above the ground. So yeah, we're going to have to start descending on this little bit. We probably want to be about 1,500 feet on the above the ground. So that's going to be about yeah, 2,500 feet. So about 2,500 feet by there. That should keep us more or less on profile. But we'll brief that if we need to do it, which, you know, could be a possibility. The circling, I don't really want to do the circling at all. That's going to be a bit of a ball ache. We'll do it if the weather gets worse, but we'll keep an eye on it. When we're coming down the ILS, we're trying and keep an eye of when we're actually visual. So when we do get visual, what heights we're breaking the clouds, and if that's anything lower than 4,000 feet, then we know this RNAV visual approach is not good enough. We won't better do it. So, you know, as long as we're visual by 4,000 feet, we could do that RNAV approach, as long as it doesn't get any worse. And if we are visual, we'll have a look out the left-hand side as well, just to see where the clouds are. If you have a really short flight, then you cruise this for a few minutes. When do you start preparing to arrive and climb? No, on the ground, Josh. You know, if you got time, do it then. If it's a really short flight, I mean, again, like certain places we know better than others. You know, Jersey, Isle of Man, Belfast, all those sort of flights. We do those very regularly. So, you know, we kind of know what the procedures are. So we've got to sort of discuss the threats, how we're going to mitigate them using the FCU selections, how we're going to fly it, what we're going to do if we need to do a go around. 20 degrees angle of bank we do, and then I'll come back to the other procedures if we need to do them. Try and get these passengers into Salzburg so they can go on their skiing holidays. Is that? Ooh, is so is Austrian control online? That'd be quite nice. We got it. Nice to have a bit of ATC. Well, we do. Perfect. We have Austrian control. Oh, this is going to be really good actually if they can cover us 32.6, because at least it's going to give us some options. At least we can talk to somebody and go, this is what we want to do. Right, let's just have another look at that performance just to make sure we can do it. So 350, if we go, what's that now? Still using the old one. So yeah, 350 at 15 is 14 knots down. We can still do that. We're just ever so slightly out the factored landing distance, which is the 15%. But I am happy to disregard that. And that's max reverse, max manual braking, and we are probably going to be less than that as well. Let's go 64. What's the landing weight? Let's see if we can just tweak that ever so slightly. So fuel weight is 60, going to land. So yeah, 64.3. I don't think it's going to make an awful lot of difference. Not really. Naff all difference. So we're going to keep an eye on that weather. Can we take a trip to Lugano? Possibly, yeah. How much resistance is there when moving the thrust levers? No difficult to quantify, but it depends, Mike. It depends on the aircraft. Some are really, really stiff. You know, when you start moving and you start moving taxi, obviously you don't generally touch the thrust levers until you start taxiing, but you know, sometimes you move them and you just go, oh, they're really, really stiff. You want to do a manual thrust approach in these because, you know, they're quite difficult to move and sort of really, you know, fine tune. Some aircraft are really loose, so you know, you go to move the thrust levers and then like, oh Christ, you know, nearly got a toga power straight away. So yeah, some are stronger than others, but it's always a ball ache. Don't ever put that in the tech log. Don't ever say, oh, the thrust levers are really loose or really stiff, because the engineer will hate you because they have to remove the entire thrust lever assembly and play around with it, and it takes hours. So yeah, an engineer will really, really hate you if you say, oh, these need adjusting, because it's not really something they enjoy doing, just because the nature of the job and how big it is. Right, not that one. How far away am I from? I don't think I'm that far away actually. Where am I? I'm here somewhere. I'm outside Germany airspace. Oh, there I am. I'll be flying south very, very shortly. Hey Mark, how you doing? Oh. Right, I think it's going to be quite an interesting approach. What's the time? 1 o'clock. So I've got loads of time to either go around and go somewhere else. I'm relatively happy we can get into Salzburg. You know, we got the fuel for it. I'm happy that we can probably, if we can't get on the ILS, I'm happy that we can certainly you know, give one of the INAV approach or the circling approach. If we do the circling approach, I mean, it's going to be a bit more hard work, but we can do it. And when we speak to Austria Control, in fact, I might send them a message now, just to say, look, we are requesting the ILS, just so they can coordinate it. Yeah. Requesting. Yes. Right, there we go. So I've just sent the Austrian controller an ILS for 05. Missed the start due to a model building. That's no worries, Mark. It's sort of in two parts. Unfortunately, OBS crashed sort of halfway through, so yeah, had to restart OBS. So there's a little bit on the ground of me chatting about usual sort of random bollocks, and then I was sort of halfway through explaining the external air starter procedure for starting the engine, because we don't have an APU of this aircraft. You know, that's in op technically, you know, in the MEL. So I was sort of halfway through explaining that, and then OBS crashed, and then I had to restart it. So yeah, it's going to come in two parts, this one. And as I said, I think in the first part, I was originally just going to do this sort of, you know, air starter unit thing as a video, just as a sort of separate video, but then I've got to edit it, so should be fine, but close and soon, so afraid no service from me. Oh, okay, no worries. So he's not going to be online. That's a bit of a shame. Fair enough. Well, we could do Unicom calls. Hopefully, this is where VATSIM's going to be a bit of a pain, because I bet there'll be people on the ground. So, I mean, to be fair, that with that wind, you would definitely depart off runway 33. You wouldn't land. You wouldn't take off on runway 15 at all due to the terrain. But you know, if you can land on runway 15, we will. To be fair, actually, I don't think, have we got any arrivals? So it's me, somebody else is behind me. So to be fair, I think I'm probably the closest arrival anyway, which is good, so I don't think there's anybody on ground. Might fly in the old Monarch livery. Yeah, it's good old Monarch. Right, so we're near top of descent, it's not far to go. What's that, another 2 or 3 minutes? Bit of a tailwind as well. So, tell you what, let's just start going down now, just because we're down there nice and early. So it's 10,000. That's at cents, 10,000 blue, 100 blue. Right, it's got that. He needs to keep an eye on this wind. .340 at, oh, there we go, 340 at 6. That's much better. Yeah, I can do that. Tempo 300, 15, gusting 30. That can't do that, but can do this. So if that wind settles down, I shall be very happy. We've got SATS 2000. Yeah, broke it. So we've only got 500 feet separation now. So yeah, broken at 4.5. So we can still do that on our visual approach just. But we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on it. Just see when we break through this cloud and see when we get visual. So 340 at 6. Let's update this. So yeah, 340 at 6 is fine, we can do this, no problems. Vacating didn't really sort of talk about that. I suppose it really depends on where we actually land in the end, but if we do make it on runway 15, it'll either be Echo, potentially, depends how well we slow down, or maybe Foxtrot. So Foxtrot in straight up Lima and then straight into the stands. Probably in exit 4 and then one of these stands up somewhere on the left. Whiskey 4, Whiskey 3, Whiskey 5, any of those would be fine. Obviously if we do have to go around, we end up landing on runway 13, it's no major issue. We'll just go down to the end, probably Bravo, probably won't get off at Charlie, and then in the other direction, in via exit 3, and then again same sort of stands. So yeah, 4,000, but we know MSA is 15 down here in this sort of southwest quadrant. So I know 10,000 is technically below sort of sector safe, the grid Morris. How often do you check METAR? Well, on a day like this, Josh, every bloody minute, because it makes a big difference. You know, it's very relevant for the approach and whether we can do it or not. Have you always been with EasyJet? No, Andy. No, I've flown with many airlines. Yeah, on a day like this, you would probably want to check the weather quite frequently, because you know 340 at 6 we can do that, no problems whatsoever. You know, landing distance is fine. You know, we're all very good. But you know, if it's right on the sort of cusp of whether you can get in or not, you want to pay attention to it. Now, the next thing I suppose is probably worth mentioning is the winds on runway. Now, we don't have a tower frequency, so it's a little bit difficult to simulate this. But just in respect to what winds would we actually pay attention to, and this is in the SOP document. So it does say somewhere. Where are we? It talks about the wind. I just feel I can find it. Approach general. It's down here somewhere. Come on, where are you? I can't find it now. It's basically what it says is that you can disregard the wind on the ND if you get the tower wind. So as long as the tower wind is within limits, you can use them. Of course, we don't have tower because tower's not online, so we're going to have to use the wind on the ND. Just we'll use that as our reference. So if this is like 200 feet, 330 at 18, then that's technically outside the limitations. So we'd probably go around from that. So we're going to use the actual winds. I'm sure it says that. Oh, there we go. So it says. Oh, now he's messaged me. Yeah, Munich is it? 34150. 34. Munich controller, very good afternoon now. It's Monarch 240, descending flight level 100, and we are direct to Litzli.
Monarch 240, hello, München, radar contact.
Radar, good afternoon.
Not that he really cares, but...
Mike level 250.
Oscar Golf, Foxtrot Mike, Servus München, radar contact, squawk 1000.
Squawk 1000, Oscar Foxtrot Mike.
Monarch 240, descend altitude 10,000, 10,000 feet, QNH München 1022.
Thanks so much. Descend 10,000 feet, QNH 1022, Monarch 240. Right, 10,000, so that is then technically an altitude. So 1022 and 10,000 is blue. Right, I'm going to get everyone strapped in early just so we get cabin secure nice and early as well. It's a long contrail. Nice to see. There's a couple of long contrails. Yeah, where's the bloody... I need to find that thing now, SOP. Problem is finding these bloody things. Doesn't matter, it's irrelevant anyway because we don't have tower online, so we will use the winds on the ND as our reference. What else was I about to say and do? I can't even remember. Something. Yeah, that's what I was going to look at. So yeah, the SOP technically, if it is a runway condition code 5, really we should be using 3 as a runway condition code. So there is an SOP here. It says prior to use reverse idle runway flight crew should perform an in-flight landing distance assessment made by the following parameters. Runway condition code to 3, auto brake low as medium as required. So we've got where is it? Medium. Reverse is set to no. So no. Providing the resulting factor landing distance with the landing distance, the flight crew shall select reverse idle during landing as possible. So this is the factor landing distance is a little outside the landing distance, but I'm effectively disregarding the fact that just for the purpose of the sim. So I know that we can get in. We can definitely do it.
Wings 2015, hello, München, radar contact, descent level 150.
Descent flight level 150, Wings 2015.
Mission radar, a very good afternoon, Ryanair 2 Whiskey Bravo level 350.
Ryanair 2 Whiskey Bravo, hello, München, radar contact, proceed to Dolop.
Proceed direct Dolop, Ryanair 2 Whiskey Bravo.
When ready, send. When ready, when do you start? Actually, like you say, it says when ready.
Wings 2015, proceed to Delta Mike 425.
What do you think, Josh? I'm going to throw that back to you.
Proceed direct, Delta Mike.
What would your thoughts on that be?
Wings 2015.
Wings 2015, AFM.
I have no idea what that is. Chithead and Napsa. I don't know why that's in there. That's probably the flight plan to Munich, fair enough. Right, let's just go a little bit faster. Right, bridge phase is activated.
Mission radar low, Transavia 1 Tango, descending flight level 260.
Transavia 1 Tango low, München radar contact, descend altitude 10,000, 10,000 feet, QNH 1024.
Descend 10,000 feet, QNH 1024, Transavia 1 Tango.
So obviously a transition altitude is a little bit higher here due to the terrain.
Transavia 1 Tango, West QNH 1022.
Sure, about 10,000 feet.
Thank you, 1022, Transavia 1 Tango.
Monarch 240, just be aware we are requesting the ILS runway 15 for Salzburg if you get controllers for that.
Monarch 240, Vienna just went offline, so monitor 122.8.
Yeah, no worries, thanks. Monitor Unicom 122.8, Monarch 240, thanks so much, everybody.
See ya.
Right, well, he's lost interest, so back to Unicom. Salzburg traffic, LOEC, sorry, correction, Monarch 240. We're descending 4,000 feet to the Salzburg VOR, and we are planning the ILS approach runway 15. Right, so he's gone, so we can go down to 4,000 feet now. So again, we know that's below sort of sector safe, really. Right, it's sector safe 4,000, I suppose, to the north, so that's fine. 4,000 is blue, and we're kind of visual of the ground, so we're good with that. A bit of weather ahead, so I think this is all this rain showers that's around. That's immediate, but when I'm ready. Yeah, well, there you go. It's, you know, that's it. I mean, again, Josh, don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink things, mate. Like I said, keep it bloody simple. You know, when ready. You know, it means exactly that. When you're ready to descend when you're ready. You know, it doesn't mean descend now. I mean, you might want to descend just a little bit earlier. You know, because that way you're not going to get too close to you know, high speeds, you know, VMO, MMO sort of thing. So, you know, you might want to descend, you know, 5-10 miles before your plan is, but you know, it just means when you're ready to go down. You know, they're not telling you to go down for separation immediately. Right, we've done that. We've done the QH. Let's do the approach checks. So approach checks. Barrow FQNH 1022 is set. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is a Barrow of 1682 feet. Auto brake is medium, and the FBs are stowed and disconnected. 40% in mind. Yeah, you know, ATC, you know, they're not asking you to descend for separation or anything like that. It's just a, you know, when ready, because you're, you know, starting the approach effectively. Right, how far have we got? So OES is identified. Don't have a DME just yet. Is DME co-located with that? It should be. Yes, it is. Good. 12 miles from the Salzburg VOR. That's what, that's another 10 miles away. So about 22 miles. So we're not far off profile. Top of drop is basically at the top of drop points. 8 miles there. So yeah, maybe just help it down a little bit. Let's just go manage descent now. Anti-ice is on. Let's get speed brakes, Italian speed brakes out. Let's just get these out as well, just so I don't forget them. A little late to the party. No, you're joining the best bit, Mark. You're fine. So we've got somebody there. Don't know what he's doing. Is he just taken off? I've just taken off for 3-3, that's perfectly normal, expect that. Yeah, somebody's just departed. Right, so there's a departure on the ground, but I need to keep an eye on him, see where he's going. Salzburg traffic, Monarch 240, about 5 miles from the Salzburg VOR now, just about to start the approach for the ILS for 1115. So there we go, 6,050 miles, that's looking pretty good. Alright, let's get flap 1 out, speed check flap 1. Only 6 knot tailwinds. Yeah, I think it's disappeared, Christian. I think we're looking good, buddy. Oh, 340, yeah, that's it. That's absolutely fine. Alright, 180. Sign me up. So glide slope lock blue Cat 3 dual AP 1 and 2. Alright, glide slope lock start, missed approach altitude. What was that? I didn't actually see that. Didn't brief it. Climb straight ahead, left turn, 6,000. Good. Approach altitude is set. Let's go flap 2. Speeds check, flap 2. Right, so we visual. Right, good.
Salzburg traffic, easy 75 November Echo. Taxiing out via Lima and Foxtrot, holding point runway 3T. Salzburg traffic.
Salzburg traffic, Monarch 240, we're on approach now for runway 15. Can you just keep the taxiway clear so we can vacate at runway 15, please, and then enter the we'll enter the apron behind you.
Roger, easy 75 November Echo, no problem, I will do as requested. Please confirm when we can start move.
Yep, no worries, so I'll let you know Monarch 240, thanks. Alright, so flap 4 as done. So turn the APU, turn the packs off as per the procedures. So that's all done. We're configured. Manage speed. So again, a go around if we do need to do that. It's straight ahead left turn at the 2 miles OES. We're going to pre-select VLS base 140. So we are visual now, and we are below 4,000 feet. So I think the visual approach, the on-air visual approach should be right. It's looking pretty clear over here, so we should be okay. But obviously there's a bit of low cloud around. So landing checklist cabin is secure for landing. Go on altitude is 6,000 blue, and the eco memo is landing no blues. Just going to add a couple of. So what's that? 140? No, 130 is about 5 knots. That's fine. So it's PAX 1 or 2. We're expecting this because we've done this ourselves. So that's fine. We can clear that because that is as expected. There we go, so just keeping an eye on the ground speed. So what do we got? We are pretty much bang on a 15 knot tailwind at the minute. So expecting that to drop off. Just going to leave the autopilot in for a little bit. Come on, speed. So again, bang on 15 knots. Knots. Alright, let's keep an eye on this. Helps if my seat's in the right place, which it isn't. Stable. Three white seen.
100 above.
So 12 knots, about 10 knot tail winds. So happy to continue. Fighter down. 3 red seen, happy with the picture.
100.
Keep it going, keep it going. There's the rain.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Smacks reverse. So spoilers. Reverse green. Decel. Slowing down nicely. Manual brakes. And that seems fine. 70 knots. Idle. Oh, shit weather. Well, it worked anyway. Alright, that taxiway here. Come on, brakes. Work. Perfect. Salzburg traffic came on at 240, thanks very much. Vacating on runway 15 now. We can probably, it depends how you like it, we can either taxi and enter the apron from the north or from the south, so if you push back, feel free to do so, and we'll just enter from the north so you can taxi out via the south.
Easy 75 November Echo Salzburg traffic, yeah, we will take exit 3 and then taxi south on Lima and hold short of exit 4 till you are in.
Okay, thanks very much. We'll come in via exit 4 and park up model 240.
Roger, no problem.
Thanks for the patience. Right, that's good, that's done, that's done, that's done, strobes are off, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. Right, packs can come back on now since we need them for the engines anyway. We can't get the APU started because that doesn't work. So that can come off, that can come off. Done that, done that, done that. Ew. That, and that. If I turn that off, not quite, there we go. That's done. Might need the brake fans in a minute. So we're going to come in this way, the EasyJet's in there somewhere, and we're going to park on one of these stands. I'm not too sure. And the EasyJet in Salzburg, sorry, what stand do you want, just so I can park on one different to yours?
1 second, please. 75 November Echo.
No worries. He's sort of in the corner, so I might take like Whiskey 5. That might work quite nicely. Whiskey 5. Oh, too small. Hey.
Easy 75 November Echo. I had been on stand Whiskey 2.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you're clear now anyway. That's great. So we'll just taxi to the Sanchez. Thanks. Right, he's gone out of the way, so that's fine. So let's go Whiskey 4. Let's see if we can do that. Whiskey 4. Whiskey 4 West. That'll do. No. Whatever. Right, so anyway, that's done. APU's obviously not there. We got accumulator pressure. Whiskey 4 Echo. It's not that one. That's Whiskey 5. So hopefully get some ground crew over there in a second. Now Whiskey 4, is it this one? Looks like it. Yeah, there we go, there's a marshaller. Good. Alright, that's done, that's done. We've done that, we've done that. Weather radar's off, so we're not going to kill him. as usual, that's fucking useless. Well, that was exciting. I don't know what the landing rate was, if it even recorded it. But I mean, it was, it was well within the touchdown zone. Everything was good. Everything was within limits. And the rain's stopping. Perfect. And that's all done. Yep. Don't think we need the anti-ice. I can go off. So probably expect to stop here somewhere. I'm on the centre line. Stop being so bloody picky. You're going to say right now, aren't you? Cowbag. Thank you. Right. Parking brake is on. So now the important bit. So we need external power. So it's not there. So let's just get up on the FB.
Traffic ECE 75 November Echo. Lining up, taking off runway 33 Salzburg traffic.
So can I have you, please? Good, ground power's there, excellent, that's connected. Now we can shut the engines off. So we've had the 3 minutes. Engine 1, engine 2, that's off. You parked a bit too far and askew. Fuck off, did I? No chance. What a load of bollocks. Right, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. That's done, that's done. I'm sure we haven't drifted too much. 1.7 a little bit. Done, done, done. We can come off. It's less than 10%. Yeah, I should have thought that. Parking brake's holding as well. Good. That's all done. Good. I think I've done everything. Bit too askew. Yeah. It's good enough. Good enough. You've got a massive apron here, love. What are you worried about? Right, I suppose we can deboard, can't we? Request deboarding.
The boarding requested.
I suppose you wouldn't technically open the door until the thing is there. Shoddy HD. Yeah, it's top. It's just shocking, really is. Hey, Dr. Magic. Must be at least a centimetre off that line. Good. Well, that was it, guys. That was Salzburg, so it wasn't too bad. Does the marshalling rate your book? No, they don't. No. No, your first officer might do. They might rate it and go, yeah, that was shocking. But no, it's fine. It's all in good humour. Anyway, there we go. That's it done. Not much else to do, really. I don't really have time to.
Passengers bus is coming.
Good. Oh, they got a bus. They've got a bus to go from there to there, have they? Okay. Yeah, it's the most ridiculous. No, I need to change this. We don't have ULDs. You know, these should be just the belts, really. But anyway, good. So he's on his way. Oh, where did he come from? Has he just landed? Oh, he has, hasn't he? Literally. Oh, he did the approach onto 3-3. Interesting. Ah, pussy. Good. Yeah, there we go, guys. Hopefully that was relatively informative. Hopefully that was, yeah, some use. A little bit different for Salzburg, slightly different procedures. Didn't get to do the RNAV approach that needs to go around either, so that was all fine. But hopefully at the start that will show you kind of what you need to do for the APU being an op as well. So, you know, with that thing not working, let's try and get a good screenshot. I don't know if I can do the enemy showcase. Yep, there we go. Perfect. That'll make a nice little screenshot probably for the video. Yeah, hopefully that then you can see how we sort it out without an APU. And like I said, we don't, why you would really, give yourself that failure deliberately, why you would go in there and do this, and then, not that one, fail it, manual, and then just, sort of force it not to work. But Fenix is quite good because you've got the random failures. You can actually potentially get this as a random failure that might pop up. Like you might land somewhere and then the APU may not start for whatever reason. So in that case, if you're doing multiple sectors, if you're not just doing the one, if you're then returning back, whatever, you've got a nice long day to do this, then you now know how to deal with it. We've got the ground air in here. We've got the ground air stuff. There we go. In the FMGC, so we can still start the engine without the APU by using the air starter unit that would be plugged in front of the engine, and then you can start the second engine off that, and then you can cross bleed the engine as well. So yeah, that's really good. So yeah, sensitivities, that was what somebody wanted to have a look at, so let's have a look at those. Those GX is quite nice for a bit of eye candy, isn't it? So yeah, let's have a look at the sensitivities, because I know a few people are asking this on Discord recently. Excuse me. So, oh yeah, this is what I've done. I couldn't even remember, to be honest, but I've basically reset everything, because I think I did have it on curves, where it was sort of curvy and this, that and the other, but I just found it wasn't really responding quite how I wanted it to. It felt a little bit dead, I think, certainly in a bit of roll and pitch. Not quite as responsive as what I wanted. So I've effectively reset it just so it's very linear. So, what's that? Y is Y, there we go, Y is pitch, isn't it, and then X is roll. So I've reset it to be a bit more linear, so it's a bit more responsive with just a really small dead zone, because the sensor of the joystick on the Thrustmaster joystick is quite large. It's quite a large sort of centering zone. In reality, the centre of the joystick on the real aircraft is actually quite small, so you can move it, move really sort of small movements, and it will still respond quite a lot. So I've sort of, made this a bit more linear just to make it a bit better, so it's a bit more responsive in that sort of initial input, I suppose. And then depends on the flight control law, which normal law is, it's going to sort of dampen things out into everything that it should do anyway. So yeah, that's the sensitivity. So I've just left it as is. The Z, this is the nose wheel steering. So this is specific. Where is it? Flight control. That one, is it? Trimming? No. Why have I got that one? I don't know why I've got trim set. I mean, the trim doesn't even work. That's just set up, but obviously it wouldn't actually do anything. Where is miscellaneous? That one. There we go. So yeah, the Z is the nose wheel steering. So I've actually got that assigned to the nose wheel steering because it's a twist. And that simulates the tiller quite nicely. So this is the tiller, and that's got like a little bit of a curve on it, because that's similar to kind of how the tiller is in real life. There's not a lot of movement for the first part of the sort of deflection of the tiller, and then it sort of gets a bit steeper. But that seems to work quite well. A bit of a dead zone as well, just so I'm not moving it too much when I'm going down the runway. So yeah, those work quite nicely. And then what have I got on the rudders? Yeah, you don't need to worry about the thrust. Nobody doesn't need to worry about the thrust. Yeah, the rudder, I suppose. So the rudder pedals, obviously got the pendulum rudders, and obviously there's the rudder, which is the Z. So that's got a little bit of a curve on it as well. So that seems to respond quite nicely. That's not quite linear, but again, that seems to work quite nicely for me. Seems pretty responsive. And then I've got no dead zone and just a straight line, and these are the toe brakes. So the X, funny enough, on the left is the right toe brake, weirdly, and then the Y axis is the left toe brake. So I mean, these are actually back to front, so that's right and that's left. But yeah, that's just a straight line with no dead zone, because of course there isn't a middle for the toe brake. There's on or off. There's on or off, and obviously you can modulate the pressure, depending on how much toe brake you use. So I haven't got any bit in the middle where it stops, because obviously it doesn't stop. Your braking effect doesn't stop when you get to the middle of the travel. There's no sort of. So yeah, that's just a straight line, 0, 0, 0, and that works quite well. So yeah, I've been doing that, and that's fine. Graphics settings. I can probably have a look at those. Go back. I don't want to save anything. But I haven't changed any bindings. Bugger off. General options. graphics. So yeah, these are the graphics settings. Again, like it's not top of the range PC. It's sort of donated, I suppose, but it still seems to work quite well. And I've got a few things on high, a few things on medium. I've not really played around these too much. The anisotropic filtering I've got on the highest, because that stops the runway from being blurry. So yeah, I did turn that on because initially I was getting really blurry runway textures, which just didn't look right at all. So I've got that on high, and then a few other things. Again, I've got no real idea what some of these windscreen effects I've got on ultra, just because it's got the reflections a bit better. And then some of these are on medium, some on low there, some are off, because I don't think it make a huge amount of difference. So yeah, that's the graphic settings, and like I said, they seem to work quite well. But yeah, that's it. So hopefully that's useful, guys. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Something a bit different to me. I've not been to Salzburg for ages, actually, so yeah, it was good just to sort of refresh the bloody brain on what we had to do. But that's it, yeah, so hopefully that's a nice little stream. I may be back on tomorrow. What day is it? I don't even know what day it is. Is it Thursday or is it Wednesday? It is Thursday today, yeah. So Mrs. has got a cousin coming again tomorrow night, and that's brilliant because it means I've got an evening stream. So tomorrow night I can do an evening stream. 175 passengers, don't think we had that many, did we? 150 something. So yeah, tomorrow will be an evening stream I can do. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might just do a return, like return from Salzburg or something. Be a bit boring, I suppose, but maybe something different. But yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow night. Probably, I may do something during the day, I'm not too sure. I suppose I could do a return. I could do something during the day and then something else. I don't know, whatever, I'll do something. But yeah, I should be streaming tomorrow night, so have a good day, guys. Once again, Happy New Year, hope everyone's alright. I'm slowly getting better. Still got a bit of a crap cold, but that's the way it goes. And yeah, hope everybody does alright, and I shall see you later on. Cheerio. Bye.
Passengers bus is coming.